Hello team and family, this is video number 1 over percent proportions, finding the part. There are 300 fruits in a grocery store. Of those 300, 65% of the fruits are apples. How many apples are there? So, before I set up my percent proportion, I should know at this point that part out of the whole thing is equal to some percent out of 100. So I'm going to go ahead and set up my percent proportion. It says there are 300 fruits in a grocery store. So 300 is equal to the whole thing. Of those 300, of that total, 65% of the fruits are apples. So 65% are equal to the apples, which is the part out of the total fruits. So this is my part, and it's my percentage, so it goes on the top. So I'm looking for how many apples are there, if I know that 300 are fruits. So the total is 300. I'm looking for how many apples that is, and then I know that 65% of the fruits are apples, and all percentages are out of 100. So I could do a couple ways. I could do cross multiplication, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cross multiply. 300 times 65 equals 100 times x. Step 2, I need to multiply 300 times 65. So when I do that, 300 times 65 I get 19,500 equals 100 times x. Step 3, I'm going to divide both sides by the number in front of the variable. 100 divided by 100 cancels out. And 19,500 divided by 100, if I take away 2 zeros from the top and the bottom, I'm going to just divide 195 by 1. So 195 divided by 1 is 195. Excuse me, so my answer is 195. So how many apples are there? Out of 300 apples, or out of 300 pieces of fruit, 195 are apples. So the second question asks, how many fruits are not apples? So there's really two ways I can answer this. The easier one, since I answered part A, would be to take 300 total fruits and subtract the number of apples, which is 195, to figure out how many are not apples. And when I do that, and if I carry correctly, I get 105 are not apples. That's probably the easier way out of the two. The second way would be to take 65% away from 100. So 100 minus 65, which gets me 35%. So I'd set up a proportion. Out of 300, I'm looking for the part, which would be 35% out of 100. And I could set up that proportion and solve it, and I should get the number that are not apples, which should be 105. So there's really two ways to go about solving it, but if you solve part A and you did it correctly, then part B, all you need to do is take away 195 apples from 300 pieces of fruit to figure out how many are not apples.